No, Grand Rising.
Grand Rising. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm feeling good this morning.
Me too.
Yeah. Feeling good, yeah. Happy to be here.
I'm Mahogany.
I'm Ish.
And this is Culture Currency.
With culture
is the value. So, today's topic is an interesting topic.
The topic today is feelings versus facts. Whoa. Something we deal with a lot, and we get caught up in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, we have so many examples.
So many.
Yeah. It's important that we distinguish it, so we're going to talk about it today.
Absolutely. I'm going to define them, and then we're going to go from there. So a fact is a thing that is known, proven to be true. Right? And feelings are an emotional state of reaction, a belief, especially a vague or irrational one.
Yes.
So, when you hear those two definitions, what does it bring to you?
A lot of times we're more delusional than we think we are. You know, because we have these feelings about things and we believe it's true. We feel like it's true. You can't tell us that it's not. But a lot of times it's really based in our past experiences and it's our trauma informing us. You know what I'm saying?
Filtering through trauma.
Yeah, filtering through trauma. And it's important that we separate our thoughts from those kind of emotional influences.
I like the way you said that because it brings me to a conversation that I was watching the other day. Actually, it was via social media. And there was this gentleman speaking about belief. And the fact that belief is not knowing.
I just believe.
I believe it.
Right.
Doesn't mean that you know.
Right.
Right. So there's such power in words. And understanding the definitions help to navigate the powers within you when utilizing living in words, right?
Right.
So when we speak about fact versus feelings, right, we always have the conversation about the fact that feelings are fleeting, right?
Yep.
So and they're unreliable. Is a constant switching of, you know what I mean? Because all it is the response of a chemical reaction.
Right.
Feelings do have value.
Yes.
I want to be clear about
and
that.
And honor your feelings. Right.
Honor your feelings.
Right.
But the way that you honor your feelings is by acknowledging them. Right. So the acknowledgement of feelings lets you identify where these feelings coming from. Why am I having these feelings?
Right.
You know, what triggered this?
Exactly.
Because feelings are indicators, as we said in other shows.
And then I'm saying, when you acknowledge them, it's good to identify them. Like, am I angry? Do I feel fearful? Is it anxiety? And like you said, why? Like being able, be honest with yourself about that. Yes. And something I read online about cognitive biases, which is systematic error in thinking, poor judgment, and decision-making. So in order to really distinguish feelings from facts, you really have to sit with yourself. Yeah. And that's where self-management comes in.
I did a post about this a while back. The information we have is by way of our experiences or our lived experience, the things that we've seen, heard, all of those. So what we haven't experienced, what we haven't heard, what we haven't seen, is not a part of that equation.
Right.
So all you're filtering through is a limited information.
Right.
So when you start dealing with that understanding, it's a whole different ballgame.
Right.
The fact is the knowing. The feeling is I think so. Right. That's why I connected it to the thinking versus knowing, right? You know, I really follow that inner voice. Me too. I got to a place where I don't second guess it at all.
Right.
And in a moment, I could be walking this way and something could say, nah, go left. I'm going left.
Yeah, I don't care if it's taking me 2 blocks out. Right.
And there are moments, though, that I've had that I'm like, something said go left. Then I said, no, go straight. And then I'm struggling with the thought of which one of those really came first.
Right.
And it brought me to this conversation in my own head where I'm like, yo, to think is instinctual.
Yes.
To be thinking is not. So the moment that it hits you, that thought, that's an instinct.
Right.
But once you start questioning, now you're filtering it through your stuff.
Right.
So it's not instinctual no more.
It's not instinctual. I'm glad, because I was going to ask you, but that was great. I just want to paraphrase what you just said. You just said, to think is instinctual. Thinking is not. So once your intuition kicks in and then you don't follow it, then you start filtering it through this system that could be skewed by so many different things and influences. That was great. I love that. I love that.
So many different things.
Yeah. Then think about feelings versus facts. There are times in life when being unreasonable works. For example, following your dreams. Who's to say that I could create a whole organization, Who say you could do this project where hundreds of people are coming out to learn about the gay community and you can do this school? You have to be unreasonable, right?
I don't think that lacks reason.
There's no facts behind that you can actually do it. If you never do, you're not around anybody that's done it. It's like you believe in yourself and you're like, I'm moving off of faith, not by sight.
This now goes into the space of what you know of yourself, right?
Yeah.
So I don't just believe in myself. I
know you could do it.
So there's a divine message that comes through me.
That's that thinking.
I know that divine message is there because I can do it.
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But I don't have that thought of limitation. I understand that I am of the creator.
Right.
Therefore I can create.
Right.
So even if it didn't exist prior, it can come through me.
So you understand what I'm saying in terms of...
Yeah, I get it. I 100% get it. And there's going to be a lot of people who relate to that. When you're in a understanding that you are a creator.
Yeah.
So if you think it...
If it came to you, right?
You can create it. All you got to do is make sure that you're doing the work and create and bringing the pieces together to bring it into fruition.
Right.
I don't think it's an irrational thought.
And also, as you start building whatever you're doing, you do need facts to continue to move.
Absolutely.
So the facts still come in. But you understand how the comparison... But
I
got it. You got it.
I 100% get it. I 100% get it.
Yeah. But the reason why I wanted to bring it up there, in case anybody got confused about feelings versus facts, I'm like, I feel like I could do this, but it's not a fact that I can do it. And to not mix up those two things, because it is a fact that you can do it. It is
a fact that you can do it.
Right.
Your actions will decide that. So it's not a fact that you will, but it is a fact that you can.
It's a fact that you can. And if it came to you, then it's yours. In fact, that you can, period.
And the reason that I wanted to have this discussion is because what I'm recognizing now, society is really manipulating people with the emotion of things, with the feelings of things versus the facts of things. And it keeps us in this space of kind of in this cycle of confusion, right? Because there's nothing definite there.
Right.
So it keeps you in a cycle of confusion, but not only does it keep you in a cycle of confusion, it gets in the way of relationships.
Yep.
It gets in the way of our interactions, our ability to connect.
Yes.
So I want to kind of dig into that a little bit.
I know the most important part why we wanted to talk about this is because of the breakdown in relationships when it comes to feelings versus facts, where people think you meant something by a particular thing, or like, for example, say you saw me do this. Right, roll my eyes real quick, whatever. You like, see, I knew she felt the way about. You understand what I'm saying? But it's like, actually, I was thinking about something else. I happened to look at you, but that's a small example. But relationships really break down
all the time.
All the time because of those kind of things. So you see something, or somebody tells you something, or whatever. You make up the story to go with it, and like, you know what? She probably was feeling, and she probably over there saying, like, facts, she definitely is. I know that's what she's saying, because I know her.
Because I know her.
You understand? And then it was never a conversation.
No conversation.
There was never no facts put to it, no questions. And then we do it every day.
And all I had to do was say, what was that look?
What was that look? And one time you had to ask me about that. I remember you was editing something. You was like, son. I was like, you was like, yo, you was looking crazy at son. I was like, nah, I wasn't thinking that about, like, I love him. Like, you know what I mean? But it was like, you can't You got to have those conversations.
The question is necessary.
Yeah.
We know, none of us know what's going on in each other's heads.
Nah.
We have no idea what's happening up there. So I'm happy you said that. I've had scenarios where, you know, I've had people who came to me to kind of mediate, you know, conflict. And that's often the issue. The issue is the feelings and the constant, which I know all of you have heard or even said, is you can't tell me what I feel or don't feel.
Boom.
And that's a fact.
Right.
That's a fact. No one can tell you what you feel or don't feel.
Right.
And because no one can tell you what you feel or don't feel, that's not a foundation for solution. Right? Because we have to deal with the things that can be understood on both ends, not something that can be only understood on one end.
Right. And we got to understand that in conflict, there's always two perspectives and two sides. So when you're responding to something, you're responding based on your experience and your past and all of those things. I'm thinking about a specific example. Me and one of my brothers, we got into something, and it was so crazy to me because he responded and then stopped talking to me and all of this stuff. And I'm like, yo, what the hell is wrong with him? And when we finally spoke, he said, oh, no, because the way you was acting that day, I thought you was trying to get over on my man or something. I said, what, me? I said, yo, where have I ever tried to get over on anybody for something? I didn't agree with your man was saying this. So as we having this conversation, I'm like, you know what? He responded that way based on everybody else, based on other experiences he's had. He forgot who he was dealing with.
And I'm happy you brought up that example, because that is the bottom line. When you start dealing with your feelings over the facts of situations, you start to filter through all of the inventory you've taken about experiences, but you're not taking in the inventory of who you're dealing with. When does my character become a part of the equation? Right?
Yes.
If this is not something I do, if this is not a pattern of me, then at what point do you ask yourself, while you're creating this story in your head, at what point do you factor in me?
Yeah, it got to go
factor in the character of someone. Right? If I'm not a liar, but you've been lied to a lot, I all of a sudden become a liar because you've been lied to a lot.
That's on my conduct sheet. Yeah, you messing up my grade.
That's wild. That's wild.
Wild.
There has to be some benefit of the doubt when it comes down to the feelings of things. Right? Yeah, I could feel like you acting funny. Yeah, I could feel all that. Yeah. And it could feel really real to me. Right? But do I trust this person enough to ask the question and believe the response? Right. And if I don't trust the person enough to believe the response, then what are we doing?
Yeah, so don't talk to me then. Right. Oh, my phone is right here. I posted something the other day that's really in alignment with this. Before you hold the grudge, hold the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, when my cousin hit me up and she said, people are not mature enough for that. I said, facts, but we have to love enough for that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And then one thing which is a constant thing for this a season is social emotional development, right? So how do we have our own self-awareness where we can identify our feelings, and then self-management, impulse control? I think a lot of us are hurting each other physically, whether through gun violence or physical violence, because we're taking our feelings and
just reacting to them.
We just react, and we cursing each other out, we fighting each other, we killing each other.
So many people die over things that is not even that.
It's not even that.
It's not even that.
Yeah, so that's where self-discipline comes in.
The feelings of something is valid because obviously it affected you. Right. But is the love between you and the person also valid? Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. How do you work through that? How do you get to the bottom of where those feelings are coming from? Why those feelings exist? You remember in that episode, the friendship episode, so you thought I was lying? My responses felt to you like, so what you thought about my character? Right? Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's just a whole lot of assumptions made
Yeah.
when you're dealing with feelings,
Right.
versus being able to have the dialogue, being able to sit through some hard conversations,
Yeah.
and really think of, what do we actually know?
Right. What do we actually know?
What do we actually know? What don't we?
It takes time to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So when we have our feelings boiling, that's not the time to go deal with the issue.
Mm-hmm.
That's the time to sit with yourself and calm down a bit so that your rational thinking can come into play. Because when you're angry, you can't think rationally, right? It's just that part of your brain is just shut off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you just really have to calm down for a second. Like you said, you take how many seconds to calm down?
10.
You take 10. Some people may need,
take 20.
Yeah, some people need 24 hours. Who knows? You know what I mean? But
24 hours is the limit.
That's a long time. You know,
That's the limit.
You low. No,
That's the limit. Still ready to crash? That's crazy.
No, but you need time to calm down so that your responsible decision making can come into play.
Absolutely.
So how are you solving problems? So sit down, like you said, and think, okay, what's the facts here? What do I know about this person? And a lot of times we think we're so tough, and we said this in another episode, but really you soft. Mm-hmm. Because you're doing the easy stuff. Crashing out is easy. It takes no self-control. It takes no management. The hard stuff is what we're doing. It's having those conversations. It's sitting down and challenging yourself to really figure out, what's the facts? What do I know? Let me have a conversation with this person. So it's not just about, my cousin said, it's not just about maturity. It's also about heart and being assertive.
Absolutely.
That's not easy.
Courageous. You gotta be courageous.
You gotta be courageous. And a lot of times we walking around real wounded and soft, but we think we gangster and tough. We not.
And then the people that you love is not the ones to be gangster with.
Yeah, right.
Like that's the people to be soft with.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate enough to have somebody in my life that actually is a relationship expert. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the Accountable Love group, the Love Snobs, mm-hmm. Being around my cousin every weekend, mm-hmm. challenging me, giving me the information, was like, it opened my world up.
Yeah.
It opened my world up because I do understand that some people are courageous enough.
Yeah.
Some people are trying to do the work.
Right.
But after you get to a certain level of all that you can do,
right.
It's like, all right, but what do I do with this? Because I don't have the tools. Now, how do I work these tools?
That's good, yeah.
Right. So I say all that just to say that there are people who are working it.
Right.
There are people who aren't courageous enough to work it. Mm-hmm. And people who aren't courageous enough need to find whatever it is, their why, to push them. The people who are need to figure out the tools needed to get them to their bottom line, whatever their bottom line is. But we cannot keep manipulating each other or controlling our relationships with our feelings.
Yep.
Like it's just not fair. Like
right.
Don't hold me accountable to your feelings
for something so fleeting.
When you yourself are saying, you can't tell me what my feelings are exactly. So now that we understand that, can we deal with something that we both understand?
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Can we deal with something?
That's very one-sided what you're saying. And being that you're talking about tools, I would like to go talk about that real quick because you had your cousin, relationship expert, and for me, I had Lynn, the co-founder of Dream, and she brought conflict resolution in my life. And so learning about that, I just learned that I thought I was a great communicator, but I couldn't be that great. I didn't even have training. I didn't, so I was a bad listener. So learning conflict resolution, learn peer mediation, doing it for the last 10, 11 years, it really opened me up to these different tools and ways of dealing with things and understand the difference between passive and aggressive. And a lot of us think that assertive is aggressive. No, it's two completely different things, and we don't get that. Aggressive when you're forcing yourself on somebody. Assertive is respectful, but strong, and straight to the point, right? Grounded. So there's one tool that I did learn. Get your pen and paper, folks, right? There's one tool that I did learn. It's called I statements, right? And I statements, so one thing Mahogany said was that is be soft with the people that you love. And I statements are assertive, yet vulnerable way of expressing yourself to somebody. When you tell them, I feel, when, whatever happens, because, and I would like. You know what I mean? So you identifying how you feel, when you feel that way, because whatever happened, and you making a request from the person that you love, and I feel, when, because, and I would like. And the importance of that is when you're trying to resolve something with somebody you love without pushing continue to blame them and say, you did this, you did that. An I statement is just expressing, this is how I feel. And those are one of the tools that I did learn. It was hard to do, but when you just get that frame of work in your mind, then you know how to express yourself. But you don't use that with a stranger that puts you on a train. So I want to give you an example of how it is. Mm-hmm. So look, I feel disrespected. Okay, I feel disrespected when you cut me off when I'm talking because I'm really trying to get my thoughts out and I forget. Mm-hmm. And I would like if you allow me to complete my thoughts so that you can hear me fully, and I'm fully expressing myself. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I like that.
Yeah.
I like the fact that it gives you the ability to not only express what you're experiencing, mm-hmm. but also how you would like things to be adjusted so that y'all can get along going forward.
Right, because people be talking, but I was like, because what would you like me to do, though? You're saying all this stuff. What do you want? What you want from me?
What you want from
I'm
me.
not the mind reader, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Mm-hmm. The way that feelings are being used today, mm-hmm. go back to the conversation I constantly have about participation trophies. Right? Ruined the world.
Little super medals.
You know, when you start talking about participation trophies, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. It's like it's putting everybody on the same level without the same level of work, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. Some things not earned, someone earned this, but they're not getting any difference in response. Right.
In celebration.
Yeah. But I think that's important.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I don't have to do nothing, but I still get it. Like, what we doing, right? Mm-hmm. So I bring that up because when it comes down to the feelings in these conversations with relationships, it's like, oh, you can't tell me what I feel. My feelings matter. And nobody said your feelings don't matter, right? But we need to talk about how we showing up, right? The facts of it. How are we showing up? How do we desire each other to show up? Those are the things that get us the trophy, right? Those are the things that get us the trophy. Mm-hmm. The harping on how this made me feel doesn't do anything for us. It doesn't do anything for us. And it kind of, it weakens us. Mm-hmm. It weakens us when we start dealing with I want to focus on the chemical reaction versus what created the chemical reaction, the foundation of something.
Right. And it's also important, like you see how you got your cousin. It's really important that when we're trying to figure out if our feelings are real, because a lot of times we needlessly send ourselves through agony by everything that we created, mm-hmm. especially anxiety. For those who suffer from anxiety, I get it. But having someone whose opinion you can trust and say, yo, am I bugging? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Someone that's a rational thinking, strong, is really important to be able to do that. One of the tools, we brought up I statements, identifying feelings. Another tool is identifying who is that person or those persons in your life that are rational thinkers that know you, that can really help you put things into perspective before you spin out or when you're spinning out. You know what I mean? Who are those people? Now, you can't go to the people who's just like, they're going to agree with you, so you're going to them. Yeah. Do not do that, because we always got those yes men.
But if you're doing that, it's because you don't really want to change.
You don't want to change.
The people who want to change are going to go to the right people.
Yeah, and then sometimes those are the toughest people that you know is going to give it to you real. My big brother, Amin, is that for me. I don't go to him for an easy answer.
And it's levels, right? It's levels, because even the people who are that for you have somebody who is that for them. Like, because my cousin is that for me. Right. But I am that for a whole lot of people. Right. So I get the phone calls, and I'm appreciative. I want to say that in this episode too, with the people who I'm watching want to be better, want to grow, and have real interactions and relationships, who come to me and is like, yo, can you help me through this? Can you know what I mean? Because it shows a lot of value within the relationships. Like, they value those interactions.
Yeah.
This quote I found, and I'm not sure who the author is, forgive me, but the quote is, if facts hurt your feelings, you need new feelings, not new facts.
I love that quote so much, because the fact is that facts do hurt feelings. That is a fact.
That's why people run from it.
Yeah, because when you have to deal with yourself or you have to readjust or look at your cognitive biases, the way you think about things, the way you rationalize it, when you got to really break all of that down and deal with yourself, it hurts your feelings. And her feelings come out as anger a lot of times, right? For our people. Often you mad, like, what? And you trying to defend yourself. But is really important. Calm your little angry ass down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Don't defend your feelings, defend your facts.
Yeah, don't defend your feelings, just defend your facts. Sit with yourself for a minute and think. If somebody's hitting you with those facts, and you might have to go back in your corner and think for a second, like, damn. Reevaluate.
My cousin laughs at me because throughout the process of this growth, I will go over there. He laughs because he's like, yo, you strong or whatever, because he knows what he's doing. He's a psychologist.
Yeah,
so
okay,
he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's jarring, like when he's hitting me with stuff to see my reactions, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I would be like, all right, I'm gonna sit with that.
Yeah, right.
And I would sit with it and I would go home and then I'll come back the next week and bring it back up, right? He used to be like, yo, when you're sitting with yourself.
Right.
You know how they say crazy people talk to themselves?
No, I think sane people talk to themselves. That's the best thing to do.
Don't
take it to everybody.
I absolutely talk to myself.
Yeah, I talk to myself every day.
I answer myself.
Is mad cool.
I answer myself.
I laugh with myself.
When I come up with the answers, I challenge myself by taking it to people who I know are very rational people.
Right, and emotionally intelligent.
To challenge the answer that I came up with.
Yep.
So that I know I ain't losing it. Yep. Being able to navigate that facts and feelings thing is important for your interactions. It's also important for you to really have a full understanding of self.
Right.
Right? The feelings, like I said, indicators. The facts are your stances, your foundation, what you are grounded in. And being able to discuss things with others about the foundation of things allows you to relate, allows you to connect, allow you to understand each other on a different level. So just use your feelings for understanding yourself.
Right.
And use the facts for relating to others.
Yeah, and resolving the issues. And I just want to say one more thing, that you brought up our relationship and you was like, I think that if we were more mature at the time and had the information, had the tools, that there probably still would have been a gap. We probably would have still fell back a little bit just because there's so much different things to deal with. You know, and but I don't think it would have been that long.
It definitely wouldn't have been.
Yeah, it would have been friends upset with each other and now dealing with the facts. We express our feelings about how things, and the facts are, this is how it landed, this is it, and now this got to be dealt with. Behavior's got to change.
You know what's crazy though?
What?
What's crazy is that both of us was doing mediation back then still didn't have. Yeah.
We was? You sure?
Yeah.
I was doing the conflict resolution work
we was doing it at the Cove.
We was piloting it at the Cove, right? And we started teaching the kids it over the summer and all of that. That's when we first learned it.
Yeah, we was doing it, and I did mediation in school. But what I realized was that I'm really good. I'm really good at understanding the separation between facts and feelings. I'm really good at navigating conflict. Up until my feelings. Well, used to be, because I'm really good at it now. But I used to have a hard time with it when I was in a high emotional state. Because now the stakes are higher. You know what I mean? It's damaging me.
Yeah,
it's
but
damaging.
You have to become more open and vulnerable yourself to even get this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. That facts versus feelings also touches on intention versus impact. You know what I mean? Right. So intention versus impact, like a lot of times, like you may intend to do something or say something to a person, but the impact, what actually happened, must be acknowledged. You know what I'm saying? So I intended to support you, but actually the impact is I hurt you by whatever. You understand what I'm saying? So it's very important that we understand the difference from intention. You intended to do this, but the way it landed, you missed the mark. And that's something that must be acknowledged. You know what I mean? When dealing with people, especially with people you love, understand, like, yeah, I understand you tried to do this, but this is what happened, bro. You know what I mean?
I'm happy you brought that up, because this wouldn't have been complete without that. And that's a both-way thing, right? It's important that you identify how you impacted someone, even if your intentions weren't to impact them that way. And it's important for the other person to acknowledge the intent. You know what I mean? Don't paint someone the villain in your story because they impacted you in this way. Know that their heart was not in a bad
no malice intent. Like there was no malice intent.
No malice.
That got to be acknowledged.
That has to be acknowledged because if we don't, we're gonna get hurt constantly. Like we're different people. We're filtering things through different filters, as we just finished speaking of. So even people who love you hurt you.
Yeah, right.
People who love you do not hurt you intentionally.
Right.
But people who love you hurt you unintentionally.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so keeping in mind what the intent was allows us to maintain relationships and not break free from something that truly is for us because we created a villain out of someone who wasn't a villain.
And that's where grace and empathy comes in for each other, and we must have that.
Yeah,
it's a
necessity.
Yeah.
It's a necessity. I think this was a great conversation. I'm happy you brought that point up because the discussion wouldn't have been a discussion without
that. Yeah, that got to be brought up. I'm Mahogany. Hey,
so annoying.
Ish.
I'm Aisha. I said it.
Yeah, you stupid.
That's what happened. You was like, I said it. What's changed? If facts hurt your feelings, you need new feelings, not new facts. I'm Mahogany.
I'm Ish.
And this is Culture Currency.
Where culture
is the value.
Make sure to like, share,
subscribe, comment, all the above.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Peace.